Chapter 11, The One from Su Family, Peerless Terror. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Did that old dog Gu Changsheng die? Gu Qingge was completely stunned. Her delicate and beautiful face froze, her small mouth slightly agape, wearing an expression of disbelief. How is this possible? That old thing had lived for thousands of years in the future, not only taking over Gu Yi's body but also becoming a great saint, one of the powerhouses in the Chaos Kun divine realm. If it weren't for her becoming a quasi-emperor at the 9th level and slapping that old guy to death, he would probably have continued to be arrogant. But now, how did he die? Prematurely. This is completely different from what she remembers. Could it be that her rebirth was fake? No, something's not right. The scenes in my memory are definitely correct, those secret techniques, my experiences, they are all real. Could it be that unexpected situations occurred because of my rebirth? Gu Qingge calmed down. As a generation's empress, her vision was profound. She knew that the things in her memory couldn't be fake. Even if there were powerhouses capable of creating convincing illusions, there was no need for them to play tricks on her, a mere ant. The only other possibility was that her rebirth caused unexpected situations to arise, causing Gu Changsheng, the old dog who should have died by her hands, to die prematurely. What a pity, I wanted to slaughter this old dog once again, Gu Qingge silently said. However, since Gu Changsheng, that old dog, died early, it proves that the future in my memory can also change at any time. I need to act quickly, Gu Qingge calmly thought, her beautiful eyes shining brightly. As a reborn person, she knew that there were many astonishing opportunities, some of which even her previous life's peak as the Empress of 10,000 calamities desired. If she could obtain all of them, her future achievements would be unimaginable, easily surpassing the great emperor. In my previous life, as the Empress of 10,000 calamities, I controlled the Red Lotus immortal fire and was almost invincible at the same level. I burned more than one great emperor to death, but still couldn't become an immortal. I fell in that battle. In this life, I will not repeat the same mistakes. Gu Qingge's eyes were filled with longing. Then, she looked around the room and found that there was no one else present. She sat down and prepared to start cultivating, although her physique had not been activated yet, relying on the various astonishing techniques she mastered during her time as the Empress of 10,000 calamities in her previous life. She was confident that she could reach the divine ability realm within a few days and then escape from the Gu family using a secret technique. Just give her one day, and it would be enough. Let's use the blood-refining demon technique for quick advancement. Soon, Gu Qingge chose a technique. It was one of the many secret techniques she mastered, originating from an ancient great emperor's power. This technique could promote cultivation at the fastest speed, but it had great hidden dangers and was only suitable for cultivating cannon fodder. Buzz. In the room, as Gu Qingge cultivated, the spiritual energy in the void quickly surged and entered her body. Her originally pale and bloodless face quickly became rosy. The aura is rapidly increasing. Boom. After an hour, Gu Qingge suddenly opened her eyes, a brilliant light flashed, and her aura was much stronger than before. Between her delicate facial features, there was an added touch of majesty. Qi realm. In just an hour, Gu Qingge's strength went from an ordinary mortal to the Qi realm. If others were to know, they would surely be dumbfounded and exclaim in disbelief. Boom! At this moment, a terrifying aura suddenly emanated from Gu Qingge's body. In a trance, it was as if an invincible empress had descended, reigning over ancient and modern times, overlooking the vast world. Her gaze penetrated through the ages. With a flick of her finger, time reversed, and creation and destruction occurred. In this state, Gu Qingge resembled an empress, cold and peerless, with unparalleled elegance. However, soon Gu Qingge withdrew from that state, opened her eyes, and revealed a trace of shock. I didn't expect that I would have a part of the primordial spirit fragments accompanying my rebirth. Now I can activate some of them. Indeed, my memories are all real. Gu Qingge murmured excitedly. If she had some doubts about her rebirth before, now she was completely certain. She had truly been reborn. The primordial spirit fragments from earlier were the best proof. They had returned with her rebirth, containing a part of her past life's power. Based on her cultivation level, she could temporarily unleash a portion of her past life's combat power. With her current strength in the Qi realm, she could probably erupt with the combat power of the law. Manifestation realm, although not for a long time, however, this was already enough, as long as she combined it with her memories and seized the opportunities she had longed for in her past life, it was only a matter of time before she rose in this life. The blood-refining demon technique truly deserves to be one of the strongest fast cultivation methods of the blood-refining imperial palace. It can break through realms in the shortest time. Unfortunately, this technique has too many flaws, Qingge calmly thought. She knew that this kind of advancement speed was abnormal, and the technique had too many flaws and weak combat power. It was only used to cultivate cannon fodder. Soon, she would close her eyes again and continue her cultivation. She wanted to quickly cultivate to the divine ability realm, then leave the Gu family and seek opportunities to activate her Myriad Tribulation's indestructible body, and finally build the strongest foundation in all of history. In this life, she would eventually reach the pinnacle of the immortal Tao and surpass her past life. Boom. However, at this moment, above the Gu family, a terrifying collision sound rang out. Immediately after, there was an extremely violent shaking, and the entire Arctic Sky City was trembling. What's going on? Qingge widened her eyes, her face filled with astonishment. Could it be that another accident had occurred? The next second, a terrifying holy aura descended, accompanied by a cold voice. The members of the Su family, destroy the Gu family for me. This voice, like a majestic heavenly might, shook the entire Arctic Sky City. For a moment, countless cultivators and mortals in the entire city were filled with fear. A saint has descended? Or is it the Su family? Qingge was dumbfounded again. Wasn't the Su family supposed to be wiped out by Changsheng and his men today? Why hadn't the Su family been destroyed, but instead a saint appeared to destroy the Gu family? Is something wrong with this world? Is she really reborn? A saint has descended, the Su family. Wasn't it said that the Su family was finished? How could a saint appear? Moreover, this saint is actually targeting the Gu family. The Gu family is going to be destroyed. The Gu family is finished. A saint has descended. How can the Gu family resist? Elder, didn't you say that the Su family was done for? Why is it completely the opposite now? In the drunken immortal tower, a group of cultivators looked at the middle-aged Taoist with strange gazes. The suspicion in their eyes made the middle-aged Taoist's cheeks burn, and the corners of his mouth twitched. He had been slapped in the face. But wait, he clearly calculated it correctly. The Gu family's luck was soaring, destined to rise in the future, with 1,000 years of glory. On the other hand, the Su family's luck was declining, clearly showing signs of destruction. Not only that, the Gu family also had a saint, although flawed and newly promoted, it was enough to easily exterminate the Su family. So why was it the opposite now? Looking at the skeptical gazes of the crowd, the middle-aged Taoist frowned. He was about to calculate again with his divine ability. With his divine ability, it wasn't difficult for him to calculate a saint. However, just as he was about to start calculating, he felt an extremely terrifying chill rapidly approaching from the depths of his mind. Unstoppable, boom. In the blur, it seemed as if a pair of indifferent eyes glanced at him from the long river of time. Poof! In the next moment, he was struck as if by lightning, his face turned pale, and with a wow, a mouthful of fresh blood sprayed out. Within that blood, there was a radiant divine light, surrounded by colorful rays, containing an extraordinary divine power. However, the divine power within the blood was wiped away by an inexplicable force. Otherwise, with just this mouthful of blood, it could cause great disaster and wipe out a vast land. Boom. The middle-aged man in the Taoist robe's body was shaking violently at this moment, his vision turned black, and he almost fell to the ground. The Emperor's star is shining brightly, unstoppable. This is an unimaginable supreme existence about to rise. The middle-aged man in the Taoist robe looked panicked, his fingers trembling. He was one of the masters of the heavenly Tao temple. With his cultivation, let alone a saint, even a great emperor, he could deduce some information. How could it be that he almost suffered backlash just when he was about to deduce the saint of the Su family? This person from the Su family is terrifying beyond imagination. I can't afford to provoke them. That the middle-aged man in the Taoist robe was sweating coldly, extremely frightened. He ignored the shocked expressions of the crowd, turned around, and left the drunken Immortal Tower, hastily leaving the North Pole heavenly city. He swore that he would never set foot in the true Saint Continent in his lifetime. No, let alone the true Saint Continent, he didn't even want to go to the mixed Qingge divine territory or even the everlasting heaven realm. It was too terrifying. As for the original purpose, that damn ninth demon cave, let it be unsealed. Even if it destroyed the true Saint Continent and swept through the mixed Qingge divine territory, so what? He didn't want to care anymore. Whoever the hell wanted to come to this true Saint Continent could come. Could he not hide if he couldn't afford to provoke it? He actually ran away. That the group of cultivators in the drunken Immortal Tower were also dumbfounded by the series of actions of the middle-aged Taoist. Boom. At the same time, in the North Pole heavenly city, a giant hand once again slapped down, smashing the Gu family's protective formation, and the terrifying shockwaves shattered countless buildings and palaces. Kill. Annihilate the Gu family. The Su family is invincible. In the void, one portal after another opened, and the members of the Su family, along with their army, continuously rushed out like a torrent pouring down, madly charging towards the Gu family. For a while, the strong members of the entire Gu family were dumbfounded. Flylo's 18th anniversary brand upgrade rewards readers. Top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab it now. Promotion period, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 12, Gu Qingge, the Empress of Destiny, is willing to be the Su family's dog. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Gu Qingge. Above the Gu family, Su Changsheng's gaze was deep and profound. He paid no attention to the panic and constant roars of the Gu family's powerful individuals, but instead his divine consciousness covered the entire Gu family. He wanted to find that destined girl. I found you. Soon, a slight smile appeared on his lips and his eyes brightened. Under the coverage of his saint-level divine consciousness, nothing could escape within a radius of 10,000 miles. Gu Qingge was quickly discovered by him. She was a beautiful figure. Although young in age, she wore a simple and elegant white dress, appearing somewhat inexperienced. However, her lips were red and her teeth were white, her features were picturesque, and her exquisite beauty was already evident. Even though Su Changsheng had seen and recognized countless beauties over the thousands of years, including holy women, goddesses, and even female saints, he couldn't help but admit that Gu Qingge's appearance was not inferior to anyone else's. She even made him feel a bit moved. If she were to become an empress, how extraordinary would that be? Su Changsheng was somewhat looking forward to that scene. Truly the destined girl. She remains calm even at this time, but her cultivation is a bit weak, only at the Qi realm. Judging from the situation, she should have just awakened not long ago. Su Changsheng looked on with interest. With his saint-level divine consciousness, Gu Qingge couldn't detect his scrutiny at all. Even if Gu Qingge was a great emperor in her previous life, she had just been reborn not long ago and her cultivation was not strong, so it was impossible for her to detect him. Moreover, through the fluctuations of her spiritual energy, Su Changsheng could tell that she had only recently made a breakthrough. Clearly, she had just been reborn and was currently at her weakest. This was the perfect opportunity. That Su Changsheng, he actually became a saint. Outrageous. You thieves from the Su family, how dare you attack the Gu family? Aren't you afraid that our ancestor will annihilate your entire clan? He is a saint. Hurry and go invite the elders. Kill. Within the Gu family, countless powerful individuals roared in anger. After the initial panic and shock, one by one, the strong individuals fought back with all their might. Divine light surged, various divine abilities and spells swept through, shattering entire palaces. Mountains of spiritual energy, floating palaces in the sky, were all shattered by various divine abilities. The Gu family, which had once been like a divine court, was now almost completely destroyed. That horrifying scene, I wonder how many cultivators were shocked by it. All the cultivators in the North Pole heavenly city were attracted to it, their eyes filled with astonishment. However, even at this moment, the experts of the Gu family did not lose their confidence. One by one, the elders of the Everlasting Realm emerged from the ancient grounds of their clan and fought against the experts of the Su family, because they knew that their ancestor had already broken through to the Saint Realm. As long as he returned, the crisis could be resolved. Friends of the Su family, I am just passing by and not affiliated with the Gu family. Please do not harm the innocent. I am the sect master of the North Sword Sect, Su clan leader. This is all a misunderstanding. I am an elder of the Myriad Beast Sect and a friend of the Gu family. Let's talk things out. In the Gu family, beams of divine light rose up. The powerful forces that had come to visit or curry favor with the Gu family at this time realized the situation was not good and took sides. Shameless, that a Gu family elder couldn't help but feel like vomiting blood. What the hell, why is it completely different from before? Weren't we supposed to stand with the Gu family and treat them as our leaders? Wasn't it a submissive attitude before? Kill them all. Su Changsheng's gaze was calm as he swept over the powerful forces. He said indifferently, since we are allied with the Gu family, they are enemies of the Su family. Moreover, if I want to develop my family in the future, I must expand. The Gu family is just the beginning. Other top forces in the true Saint continent will also be our enemies. In that case, it's better to kill these experts. It can also serve as a reason for expansion and war in the future. What? Upon hearing this, the experts of many forces were stunned. Arrogant. I am an elder of the Myriad Beast Sect. Isn't the Su family afraid of inviting trouble? A burly old man with red hair and wearing animal skin shouted angrily. The Myriad Beast Sect was a top force with 2 saints presiding over the sect. As an elder of the Everlasting Realm, he was also one of the top experts in the sect. Even if the Su family had the fortune of producing a saint, would they dare to offend the Myriad Beast Sect? Puff. Su Changsheng remained indifferent. He just glanced at him and then slapped him, as if swatting a fly. With a single palm, he crushed the opponent, Myriad Beast Sect. The person he killed was indeed an expert from the Myriad Beast Sect. Having roamed the true Saint continent for thousands of years, he was well aware of which forces he could provoke and which ones he couldn't. Myriad Beast Sect. If Myriad Beast Sect dares to ask for forgiveness, he doesn't mind directly attacking Myriad Beast Sect's mountain gate and taking over Myriad Beast Sect's territory in advance. So ruthless, that this scene directly sent chills down the hearts of the powerful forces, causing them to tremble and almost go crazy. That is an Everlasting Realm 7th level super powerhouse, and also an elder of Myriad Beast Sect. In this northern wilderness, he is the top powerhouse, high above everyone else, much more prestigious than the leaders of the 3 major first-rate forces. As a result, that saint from the Su family actually acted so domineeringly, completely ignoring Myriad Beast Sect's threats. He didn't even bother to reason and directly slapped him to death. If it were them, it would probably be even worse. Senior, spare me. I am willing to submit to the Su family and be their servant. That the sect master of the Northern Sword Sect shouted, kneeling in mid-air, praying to Su Changsheng. This scene immediately shocked many onlookers. Is this still the proud and arrogant sect master of the Northern Sword Sect who fears no authority? Interesting, you may. Su Changsheng was also somewhat surprised. He didn't expect the other party to be so submissive, but if they wanted to be dogs, that could also be arranged. After all, the power of the Su family was still too weak. If they wanted to take over the vast territory of the Gu family, they still needed some subordinates. From now on, you are a servant of the Su family. Now, follow the Su family to kill the enemy and redeem your sins. Su Changsheng flicked his finger and planted a mark in the opponent's primordial spirit, controlling him, then ordered. Yes, senior, the sect master of the Northern Sword Sect respectfully replied, then stood up and looked at the strong members of the Gu family with a murderous aura. Sorry, friends from the Gu family, this seat can still live for thousands of years. I only want to live, not to be buried with you, the sect master of the Northern Sword Sect said apologetically. Clang. In the next instant, he drew his sword, and his sharp sword intent instantly surged for thousands of miles. He slashed towards the strong members of the Gu family. Although he was only an ordinary Everlasting Realm, he was still enough to crush a group of strong members from the Gu family. The sword light swept across, and one by one, the strong members of the Gu family were beheaded. Shameless. Many elders of the Gu family were almost angered to the point of spitting blood. You say you feel guilty, but why didn't I see you show any mercy to your subordinates? Senior, I am also willing to submit. I humbly request to be taken in as a dog by my seniors. Seniors. As they witnessed this scene, the powerful figures of various factions also began shouting, disregarding their own dignity as strong individuals, only seeking to stay alive. There was no other choice. The scene of Su Changsheng slapping the elder of the Myriad beast sect to death was too terrifying. In addition to his identity as a saint, where would these powerful individuals dare to resist? Interesting. Su Changsheng's eyes gleamed with amusement, but he did not exterminate them all. Most of the powerful individuals here were under the influence of the northern wilderness, and their submission represented each faction being brought under the Su family's command. In this way, the Su family could occupy the majority of the northern wilderness without shedding blood. After the northern wilderness, it will be the eastern domain, and even the entire true Saint continent. Su Changsheng's gaze flickered. The true Saint continent was vast and boundless, spanning billions of miles. The northern wilderness was just a corner of the eastern domain, but that was not urgent. At least he had to become a Saint King before he could dominate the true Saint continent with an overwhelming force. Kill. After Su Changsheng gained control over the powerful individuals of various factions, the situation instantly reversed. Originally, the Gu family still had the upper hand. After all, there were still around 10 everlasting realm experts, as well as the appearance of the Red Armor Army and other legions. But with the addition of this group of powerful individuals, the situation began to turn in favor of the Su family. In the end, after a battle that lasted for several hours, the top experts and legions of the Gu family were completely wiped out, all direct bloodlines were completely eradicated, and collateral relatives were reduced to servants, serving the Su family. Su Changsheng looked on indifferently at everything. After thousands of years, he had long been accustomed to this situation. If it weren't for the sudden appearance of the system, allowing him to become a saint, today's tragic state of the Gu family would have become that of the Su family. The Gu family is finished, and the Su family is the ultimate winner. The heavens of the northern wilderness have already changed. In the Arctic Sky City, countless cultivators silently watched this scene, and the thought emerged in their hearts, the northern wilderness might very well welcome a top-tier force that would unify everything. That force would be the Su family. Flylo's 18th anniversary brand upgrade rewards for readers. Get 500 VIP points for every 100 recharge. Grab it now. Activity period, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 13 Su Changsheng, Let's Marry the Empress. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What's going on? This is completely different from the future I remember. Even if my rebirth may have brought some influence, this influence is just too great. Outside of the Gu family, in a dark corner, the figure of Qingge appeared. She wiped the cold sweat from her forehead and looked at the annihilated Gu family, feeling shocked. If she hadn't activated a portion of her primordial spirit fragments, used the power of the law manifestation realm, and quietly escaped using secret techniques, she would probably have been left behind in the Gu family. Su Changsheng, he actually became a saint. The changes in the future are too big. Qingge muttered to herself. Although she didn't stay long in the true Saint continent in her previous life, she had heard some rumors about Su Changsheng. This person had secluded himself for hundreds of years, and after failing to break through to the Saint realm, he was killed by the ancestor of the Gu family in the subsequent battle of extermination. But unexpectedly, after her rebirth, everything turned around. Su Changsheng not only successfully broke through, but also led the Su family to exterminate the Gu family. This kind of change is too big, even the Empress herself finds it hard to believe. What changes in the future? Just then, a voice came from beside Qingge, asking her. Who? Qingge's face changed. In her current state, using the primordial spirit fragments, she possessed the power of the law manifestation realm. Who could come to her side without her noticing? Boom! In the next instant, she slapped her palm, surging divine power tearing through space, rushing towards the other party. Countless divine radiance shone brilliantly, a power that surpassed the ordinary everlasting realm. 9 Moon Phantom Body. At the same time, without any hesitation, her other hand quickly formed a seal. In an instant, a bright white moonlight bloomed, extremely dazzling, like the descent of 9 heavenly moons. Immediately after, Qingge's figure split into 9, turning into 9 shadows of moonlight, about to disappear into the layers of space. This was a body technique type of great divine ability, transforming into 9 bodies, moving through space in an instant, traversing billions of miles. Moreover, the 9 shadows were both real and illusory, making it difficult to distinguish between true and false. With her current power in the law manifestation realm, using the 9 Moon Phantom Body, although she couldn't instantly traverse billions of miles, covering millions of miles was still an easy task. If it were an ordinary semi-saint, with a slight carelessness, they could easily be escaped from by her. Amazing. Changsheng's expression changed slightly. He had already tried to overestimate, but he didn't expect Qingge's methods to be even more incredible than he had imagined. She's only in the Qi realm. If it was before her breakthrough, he might not have been able to defeat Qingge and she could have easily escaped, but now, boom. With a thought from Changsheng, countless laws surged in this world, with numerous runes flickering and connecting with each other, constructing a vast spatial cage. Divine radiance surged, and purple energy rose. All the space, layer upon layer, was completely enveloped in the cage, along with Qingge's 9 moonlight bodies, all imprisoned within. Clang. Immediately after, with a flick of Changsheng's finger, a strand of starry sword light burst forth, extinguishing Qingge's attack. Then, with a flip of his palm, he collected the spatial cage into his hand. In order to prevent you from escaping, I had to use my true strength. Looking at the beautiful figure of Qingge reappearing within the palm of his hand, Changsheng smiled. He not only used the strength of the 4th heaven of the Saint realm, but also activated the 9 Tribulation Secret Codex to increase his strength tenfold, comparable to the 9th heaven of the Saint realm. All of this was just to deal with someone in the law manifestation realm, whose true cultivation level was only in the Qi realm. If others were to find out, they would definitely be dumbfounded and extremely shocked. This is too cautious. You. Inside the cage, Qingge gritted her teeth as she glared at Changsheng's handsome face. Sir, a dignified saint, resorting to sneak attacks against a mere Qi realm, truly impressive. She gritted her teeth and spoke with a sarcastic tone. Qi realm? What kind of Qi realm can unleash the power of law manifestation realm? What kind of Qi realm dares to make a move against a saint? Little girl, your words are not wise. Upon hearing this, Changsheng paid no attention and instead responded with a smile and a counter-question. Qingge's expression froze. Little girl. She, the Empress of Myriad Tribulations, the controller of the Red Lotus Immortal Fire, the future ruler of the everlasting heaven realm, had not only killed more than one saint, but even beings of the great emperor grade. A mere saint, who didn't even have the qualifications to catch her attention, dared to call her a little girl. Speak up, what do you want? Although I am from the Gu family, I have no allegiance to them. I have no grudges with you. If you spare me, I will definitely repay you in the future. Qingge felt resentment in her heart, but in a situation where she was at the mercy of others, she had no choice but to suppress her anger and force a smile as she spoke. Well, I can tell that much. However, I am curious about your identity. Qi realm, yet able to unleash the power of law manifestation realm. Moreover, your divine soul is pure and unaffected, clearly not the result of an old monster's rebirth through possession. Changsheng nodded slightly, but did not release Qingge. Instead, he looked at her with a playful expression and feigned curiosity. You should be Hui's awakening, possessing memories from past lives, and your past life was terrifying, at least a quasi-emperor, and possibly even a great emperor. But, you seem to know a lot about me, about the Gu family, and you even mentioned future changes. This doesn't align with memories from past lives, which means you're not reincarnated, but a being from the future. A future empress is reborn, am I right? Qingge. Changsheng confidently speculated, leaving Qingge increasingly solemn. she didn't expect Su Changsheng to deduce her origins so clearly in such a short time. That's right, this emperor did indeed reincarnate from the future. This emperor's name is Empress of Myriad Tribulations, the ruler of the everlasting heaven realm. As long as you spare me, this emperor can teach you various supreme techniques, the emperor's scripture, emperor weapons, and unparalleled inheritances. Qingge calmed down, her gaze sharpened, and a hint of majesty appeared on her beautiful face. You are roughly 6,000 years old, and only just broke through to the saint level, which proves that your aptitude is average. Although you have a lifespan of 50,000 years, it is unlikely for you to reach the level of a great saint, let alone break through to become a quasi-emperor or even a great emperor. But this emperor can guide you. As long as you protect this emperor's path, it will be easy for you to break through to become a great saint in the future, and there will even be a glimmer of hope to reach quasi-emperor or great emperor. This emperor is confident in surpassing the previous life and achieving the immortal Tao. At that time, with the protection of this emperor's path, this emperor can take you to the ascension immortal realm and help you achieve immortality. Qingge seductively said, in order to make Su Changsheng believe, she made up her mind and ignited a trace of imperial charm contained in the primordial spirit fragment. Boom! In the next moment, Su Changsheng saw that within the cage of his palm, Qingge, who was originally the size of a thumb, seemed to infinitely expand and transform into a magnificent and endless figure. It was a majestic and awe-inspiring figure. The entire figure was covered by the red lotus immortal fire, with a gorgeous imperial robe enveloping her delicate body, perfectly contoured, and an extremely beautiful appearance. Between her eyebrows, there was a cluster of immortal fire marks. Her gaze was cold, her temperament was icy, her skin was as white as jade, and on the imperial robe, there were true phoenixes soaring and immortal phoenixes singing. Just by standing there, she exuded an aura that overshadowed the 3,000 realms, displaying an unparalleled elegance that overlooked all of eternity. There are countless goddesses in the world, but none can compare to even a single strand of her hair. Even Su Changsheng, at this moment, couldn't help but be amazed, with a look of astonishment in his eyes. For thousands of years, this was the first time he had seen such a perfect woman. It made his heart beat faster. How about it? Do you believe now? However, soon after, the figure of the Empress disappeared and Qingge reappeared. She asked with a pale face, her aura weakened, and her cultivation level had fallen back to the Qi realm. At this moment, she could no longer use the power of the primordial spirit fragment for a short period of time. I believe. What an extraordinary Empress, unparalleled in elegance, rarely seen in the world. Su Changsheng nodded solemnly and praised. Then have you decided to become this Empress's protector? Qingge's eyes lit up, filled with joy. Her efforts had indeed paid off. Yes, I have decided. I will marry the Empress as her husband, protect her as her consort, and help her regain the imperial throne. Su Changsheng looked deeply at Qingge and smiled brightly. Qingge. Flylu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade rewards readers. Top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab it now. Promotion period, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 14 Qingge, who is about to get dizzy, the family gift package, so good. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Qingge was dumbfounded. What did she just hear? Madam, why do you look so dazed? Could it be that you are too happy? Su Changsheng pretended to be puzzled when he saw Qingge's dazed expression. At the same time, he sighed inwardly. Indeed, she is the future Empress. Although she still looks a bit inexperienced now, she is still extremely stunning. Even with a dazed and stiff expression, she still exudes an adorable and lovely appearance. Su Changsheng. Your joke just now is not funny at all. I can pretend I didn't hear it. Soon, Qingge snapped back to her senses, her gaze instantly turning cold, and her tone becoming icy. As the Empress, how could she let a mere saint humiliate her like this? If it weren't for her recent rebirth and her current situation, she would have slapped Su Changsheng to death long ago. A joke? No, this is not a joke. From now on, you are my wife. After the Su family incident is over, it will be our wedding day. Su Changsheng shook his head, his expression serious. You, don't deceive yourself. Do you know the consequences of offending a great emperor? At this moment, Qingge finally understood. Su Changsheng's true target was her from the beginning. The previous conversation was all just to mock her. She immediately shouted in a stern voice. You may suppress me now, but in 10 years, 100 years, I will kill you with ease. This was not a joke, although she couldn't use her primordial spirit fragments for a short period of time, as long as she was given decades. Qingge was confident that she could break through to the Saint Realm again and unleash the power of the Great Saint Realm with her primordial spirit fragments. By then, killing a normal saint like Su Changsheng would be a piece of cake. I know, but that doesn't stop me from wanting you, marrying you. It has nothing to do with you. Su Changsheng said calmly. Indeed, with Qingge's identity, her emperor-grade cultivation, and her knowledge of the future, it would be incredibly easy for her to rise again after reincarnation. Don't say 100 years, even if it's a 10-year killing spree. Su Changsheng believes that Qingge can achieve it. If it were before, Su Changsheng would definitely choose to be Qingge's protector and help her ascend to the top. But now, he has awakened the system and has a destined path to rise. Since that's the case, why not compete? Since he was able to go from an ordinary genius to the realm of semi-saint through sheer force, he is naturally not the kind of person who hesitates. Even if he offends Qingge because of this, he wouldn't care. Moreover, the identity of the Empress also greatly appeals to him. That is an Empress, such a noble identity has stirred up Su Changsheng's long-lost desire for conquest. You're impossible to reason with, you shameless, you wicked person. Qingge was so angry that she gritted her teeth, her chest heaving, her beautiful face flushed, and she glared fiercely at Su Changsheng. She could see determination in Su Changsheng's eyes, just like herself. Once he made a decision, he wouldn't waver. She also understood that the other party had already made up his mind and wouldn't consider the consequences. This made her extremely resentful. Fine, I hope you won't regret it, Qingge said hatefully, then sat down cross-legged, closed her eyes, and ignored Su Changsheng. That appearance was very much like a sulking young girl. Hee. Seeing this, Su Changsheng smiled faintly. He knew that the reason Qingge repeatedly lost her composure, lacking the coldness and composure of an empress, was entirely because she had just been reborn. The current Qingge was no longer the invincible empress revered throughout the ages, but just an ordinary young girl. Therefore, she would be influenced by Su Changsheng's words and continue to lose her composure, revealing her girlish side. If it were during the reign of the Empress, she would have been indifferent and unaffected by Su Changsheng's words, only responding with a slap. Instead of being like now, she would be like a charming young girl, full of youth and allure. But this kind of Qingge is even more adorable. Time passed quickly, and 3 days had already gone by. During these 3 days, the Su family completely took over the North Pole Heavenly City and, using it as a center, swept through the entire Gu family's territory, uprooting all of the Gu family's influence. They quickly occupied territories, resources, mines, and so on. Such astonishing news spread throughout the entire northern wilderness in an instant, reaching even farther and alarming countless forces, major first-class forces, and even top-level forces, were alarmed and cast their gaze over, because the Su family's ancestor had achieved sainthood. It was precisely because the Su family's ancestor had achieved sainthood that the Su family was able to annihilate the Gu family in one fell swoop, occupy such a vast territory, and subtly encroach upon the northern wilderness, becoming a trend towards becoming a top-level force. Or rather, it was well known that the Su family becoming a top-level force was only a matter of time. The only difference was how long the Su family would take to digest the Gu family's resources, and once they finished digesting, the Su family, with their greatly increased strength, would set their sights on the White Cloud dynasty. At that time, the Su family, which unified the northern wilderness, would be one of the top-level forces in the true Saint continent, second only to the dominant Taisher sect. However, many forces were dissatisfied with the Su family, including first-class forces and even the top-level Myriad beast sect. Naturally, this was because in the battle at the Gu family, Su Changsheng not only subdued a large number of powerful individuals from various forces, but also killed an elder from the Myriad beast sect. This naturally drew the wrath of the Myriad beast sect. Many forces were aware of all this and were waiting to see how the Myriad Beast Sect would deal with this. Newly risen Su family, however, what surprised all the major forces was that even after 3 days had passed, the Myriad Beast Sect still remained silent, as if they had tacitly accepted everything. This not only shocked the major forces, but also once again made them understand the power of a saint. Once it involves a saint, even if it's just a newly promoted saint, it's not a small matter. Even the powerful Myriad Beast Sect chose not to seek revenge and remained low-key. This has made the Su family's power even more astonishing. Many forces in the northern wilderness have chosen to surrender, including many direct forces of the Gu family. Of course, there are also some forces that choose to resist to the end. For these forces, Su Changsheng has only one command, and that is to annihilate them. Therefore, for a period of half a month, the vast army and members of the Su family have been fighting in the northern wilderness, and the flames of war have spread across the land. 1 month later, the situation calms down, and the Su family completely takes over the territory of the Gu family, dominating 2/3 of the northern wilderness. Ding, congratulations to the host for enhancing the family's strength, prestige, and territory. Based on the comprehensive score, a family gift package is now rewarded. Would you like to claim it? A family gift package, that within the Su family, Su Changsheng, who was bored, absent-mindedly played with Qingge's finger, his mind filled with thoughts. Is this the reward for developing the family? Let go of me. At this moment, a blurry voice came. Qingge, whose face was being pinched by Su Changsheng, stared at him with eyes that seemed to be spewing fire. Her heart was filled with humiliation. It had been a month. A whole month. Do you know how she has spent this month? This guy, Su Changsheng, is simply not human. He has been tormenting her for the entire month. It's simply unbearable. Be good. Seeing this, Su Changsheng rubbed her hair and then kissed Qingge on the face, as if dealing with a well-behaved child. This almost made Qingge faint from anger. Flylo's 18th anniversary brand upgrade rewards readers. Top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Claim now. Promotion period, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 17 Princess by Yuege, the ancestor of the Myriad Beast Sect, comes to visit with the Killin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On that day, the news of the marriage between Su family's ancestor, Su Changsheng, spread throughout the entire northern wilderness. And at an astonishing speed, it alarmed the entire True Saint continent. After all, a saint, even if newly promoted, was enough to attract the attention of the entire True Saint continent. Especially since Su Changsheng was already very famous, his promotion to saint made even some veteran saints take notice and pay attention to this young successor. Su Changsheng is actually getting married. And the bride is a younger generation from the Gu family. Could it be that the young one has some kind of secret? A 6,000-year-old saint, this age is not young, and it's the prime of his life. If he can form a marriage alliance, it would be a good choice. In the top forces and families, each saint ancestor opened their eyes, their gaze fierce like the sun, looking at the intelligence in their hands with surprise on their faces. Saints marrying was not a rare occurrence. Not to mention someone like Su Changsheng, who was only 6,000 years old. Even saints in their 40s or older, nearing old age, often married. This was not uncommon. There were even ancient powerhouses whose wives and concubines could fill a small world. Therefore, for the matter of Su Changsheng getting married, these saints were at most a little surprised. What they were more concerned about was the Gu family younger generation, whether they had any secrets that allowed them to marry Su Changsheng. However, although they speculated, they did not have an answer. Go, prepare a generous gift to congratulate him on my behalf. A saint's wedding cannot be taken lightly. Go, prepare a congratulatory gift. Go, send a 1,000-year-old medicine king from our clan as my gift. One by one, the saints spoke, their voices like heavenly might, resounding in their respective clans, full of majesty. After all, this was a saint, still very young, in the prime of his life, full of vitality. Although they were not afraid, they also didn't want to offend Su Changsheng. On the other side, in the northern wilderness, in the White Cloud dynasty, Inside the palace, in a hall, purple mist lingered, divine light radiant, like a heavenly palace, extremely mystical. At this moment, the current emperor of the White Cloud dynasty, Tianyu, was sitting on a golden imperial throne, surrounded by imperial aura, his gaze as fierce as the sun, his expression extremely solemn. Around him, the elders and strong members of the imperial family, all powerful members of the direct lineage of the imperial family, were seated in their respective positions. Everyone, it's time to discuss the retreat of the White Cloud dynasty. Tianyu's gaze swept towards the elders of the clan, his tone heavy. Currently, the Su family is powerful. They not only destroyed the Gu family, but also unified most of the northern wilderness. Many forces within their territory have also submitted to the Su family. In this past month, you have also witnessed the domineering style of the Su family, haven't you? Anyone who does not submit is wiped out by the Su family. Our White Cloud dynasty is next. Gentlemen, how should we respond? Upon hearing this, a group of royal elders and strong individuals looked at each other in silence. How should we respond? Your Majesty, we should surrender. There's no way we can defeat them. Your Majesty, the ancestor of the Su family is a saint. Our White Cloud dynasty is not particularly strong to begin with. Facing a saint, it's like striking a rock with an egg. We would be annihilated in an instant. An elder hesitated for a moment before speaking with a brave face. Although he didn't say it directly, the meaning behind his words was already clear. Then, should we surrender? A nobleman spoke up. He had a strong cultivation and was a direct blood relative of the royal family, Tianyu's younger brother. His face showed despair, indicating his unwillingness. Who wants to be someone else's subordinate? Although the White Cloud dynasty is not particularly powerful, it is still a top force, dominating a region and not needing to rely on others. But now, facing the sudden rise of the Su family, they could either resist to the end and be killed, or surrender directly and become a subordinate force of the Su family. Of course, there is another option, which is to abandon their foundation and flee. However, almost none of the strong royal family members have considered this option. I think this proposal is not bad. The Su family's saint is only a little over 6,000 years old. They still have a peak period of 40,000 years. It can be imagined that the future Su family will rise all the way and become a top force. If we join them now, we might be able to benefit from it. That makes sense. Upon hearing this, the eyes of the royal elders lit up, and they all agreed one after another. The majority agreed, with only a few remaining silent or neutral. Seeing that not only his own younger brother said this, but also the group of royal elders agreed, Tianyu's face froze. Before the battle even started, they all surrendered. Why not consider a different approach and have Yuege marry into the Su family? With the resources of the Su family and Yue's exceptional talent, it won't be difficult for her to become a saint in the future. Just at this moment, a voice filled with vicissitude sounded, shocking everyone present. Ancestor. Tianyu stood up immediately. At some point, a withered old man appeared. He was short and thin, with a shriveled face, white hair, and trembling movements. He looked ordinary, like a weathered orange. Ancestor. But no one dared to underestimate him. Instead, they showed great respect in their eyes and stood up, bowing their heads, because this was the White Cloud dynasty's divine needle, a semi-saint powerhouse. Marry Yuege to the Su family. Ancestor. Yuege has extraordinary talent, comparable to a divine body. With her talent, she has a great chance of becoming a saint in the future. Isn't it a huge loss for her to marry into the Su family? Tianyu couldn't help but speak up. Yuege, also known as the little princess of the royal family, was named by Yuege. Although she was young, her talent was the most stunning in the history of the royal family. When she was born, there were countless auspicious signs, with white dragons and divine moons appearing. There were even divine materials and lunar divine light descending from the sky to baptize her physical body. Her talent was comparable to a divine body. If nothing unexpected happened, as long as she grew up smoothly, there was a great probability that she would become a saint in thousands of years. Such a monstrous genius was going to be given to a junior of the Su family like this. Please think twice, Ancestor. Not only Bai Tianyu, but also a group of elders were anxious and unwilling. They only planned to submit for now and leave the Su family after Bai Yuege grew up and became a saint. If Bai Yuege was married off, wouldn't they be handing over a future saint to someone else? You fools, do you think becoming a saint is so easy? There are so many geniuses with high talent and many divine bodies, but how many of them truly grow up? White Cloud Ancestor frowned and looked at the descendants who still held illusions, disappointedly rebuking them. Furthermore, when did I say that the marriage partner is a junior of the Su family? Everyone was shocked. Not a junior. Could it be an elder or a supreme elder? Bai Tianyu's vision went black, feeling the urge to fall to the ground. Was his lovely and charming daughter going to marry an old man who was half buried? This kind of thing should not happen. Don't make wild guesses. The marriage partner I'm referring to is the ancestor of the Su family, Su Changsheng, that the ancestor of the White Cloud dynasty snorted. That is a saint. With his protection and guidance, Yuege can grow smoothly and become a saint. Although she is married to the ancestor of the Su family, with Yuege's relationship with us, won't she also protect the White Cloud dynasty in the future? At that time, both saints will be the backing of the Bai family. If any future descendants of the Su family dare to provoke us, the Bai family will rise. That the White Cloud ancestor waved his sleeve, explaining impatiently. So that's how it is. Bai Tianyu breathed a sigh of relief and pondered carefully for a while. His eyes suddenly brightened. In this way, as a father, wouldn't he have two saints backing him? Wise ancestor, I will prepare and send a betrothal gift to the Su family, Bai Tianyu said excitedly. No need to rush. 3 days later, at the wedding, I will bring Yuege to attend. If she is unwilling, then we will temporarily put it aside and not force it. The White Cloud ancestor said calmly. It was not only the White Cloud dynasty that took action. On the other side, outside the northern wilderness, in the Myriad Beast mountain range, there was the Myriad Beast Sect. This was an ancient sect that ruled over the Myriad Beast mountain range and even the surrounding millions of miles of land. It was also one of the top forces in the true Saint continent. Ancestor, Su Changsheng killed an elder at the 7th stage of the eternal ancient realm in our sect. Are we just going to let this matter go? In the ancestral land of the Myriad Beast Sect, the sect master respectfully asked while facing a cave mansion. Inside the cave mansion, terrifying mist surged, divine light flickered, and a horrifying aura filled the air, making the sect master of the Myriad Beast Sect tremble with fear. It must be noted that he was a semi-saint. Of course we won't let it go like this. Even if he is a saint, he will have to pay the price in blood for daring to kill an elder of our Myriad Beast Sect. After a long time, a cold voice sounded. 3 days later, I will come with the holy execution bow. Flylu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade rewards readers. Top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab it now. Promotion period, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 18, The Moonlight-Like Elf Girl, The Stunning by Yuege. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Time flies, and in the blink of an eye, 3 days have passed. During these 3 days, news of Saint's wedding has spread throughout the entire true Saint continent, and countless forces have been stirred. Many second and third-rate, and even top-tier forces have made their way there. Even top-tier forces have sent representatives. Of course, not all forces are interested. Some top-tier forces are watching from the sidelines, indifferent to a saint. Boom. The entire Heavenly Origin city is mobilized. This massive city spanning thousands of miles is adorned with decorations and filled with red lights, exuding an atmosphere of joy and celebration. Members of the Su family are all busy, either preparing banquets or receiving guests. Even the elders who were once high and mighty are now greeting guests with smiles, welcoming them into their homes. Not only cultivators, but even ordinary people are treated equally and allowed to attend the banquet. Boom. In the center of the wedding banquet, luxurious palaces float in mid-air, radiating divine light. The sky is filled with red clouds, and auspicious mythical beasts such as true dragons and phoenixes soar, while stars descend, forming a galaxy. From afar, it looks like a fairy palace. However, this fairy palace is adorned with red decorations and lanterns. with countless beautiful and enchanting flower petals fluttering about, emitting a dazzling and beautiful light. This palace is a saint-grade palace that was opened as part of the family's grand gift. Once it blooms, it can unleash saint-level power and even suppress saints, and now, this saint-grade palace has become the venue for Su Changsheng's wedding. It is the center of the wedding banquet. Please take your seat, esteemed guest. In front of the fairy palace, Law Manifestation Realm guards with smiles on their faces are welcoming each guest. With over 1,000 Law Manifestation Realm guards and 30 Everlasting Realm experts, this terrifying lineup has caused the powerhouses of various forces to furrow their brows and tremble in their hearts. When did the Su family become such a formidable force? The Sect Master of Primordial Origin Sect presents a 1,000-year-old ancient medicinal king and a divine soul lotus, wishing longevity Ancestor a happy wedding. The Sect Master of Towering Void Sword Sect presents 9 Supreme Grade Sword Crystals, wishing longevity Ancestor a happy wedding. The Sect Master of Violet Heaven Sect presents. The head of the Wang family presents. One top power after another comes to visit. Each one is an ancient power that has dominated the true saint continent for tens of thousands of years. Each sect has more than one saint presiding over it, far older than the Su family. Their appearance has greatly shocked the experts of second and third-rate powers, and even those of first-rate powers. Many members of the Su family are excited and proud. It should be noted that in the past, these top powers didn't even care about the small Su family. Just one elder coming out would be enough to look down on the Su family, requiring the Su family to entertain them with all their might, but now, with longevity Ancestor's wedding, the sect masters of each top power personally come to offer their congratulations. Not only that, they also bring precious gifts such as the 1,000-year-old ancient medicinal king and the supreme grade sword crystals. Any one of these gifts would be enough to make a semi-saint envious. Fellow Taoists, please take a seat. Point one by one, the guardians of the everlasting realm step forward, with smiles on their faces, inviting the sect masters of the top powers to the Immortal Palace. The peak aura of the everlasting realm emanating from their bodies makes each sect master tremble. Peak of the everlasting realm. Why does this seat feel that their strength is almost comparable to a semi-saint, that the sect master of Towering Void Sword Sect welcomes with a smile, but is secretly shocked in his heart? You should know that he is a semi-saint, and he has cultivated the path of the sword to become a semi-saint. How keen is his perception? He can sense that these everlasting realm elders all possess strength that is almost comparable to a semi-saint. There are more than 20 of these everlasting realm elders. The Su family actually has such terrifying reserves. The Su family is definitely not simple. It's not just about having a newly promoted saint, that the sect master of Towering Void Sword Sect is secretly amazed. Sigh, the Su family is really too abnormal. Along this journey to the peak of the everlasting realm, I have encountered at least 20, if not more, individuals with strength close to that of a semi-saint in the everlasting realm. Other than saints, the Su family's foundation is already more terrifying than ordinary top powers. That the leaders of each top power had smiles on their faces, but their hearts were shaken, all of them frightened. This kind of strength is even more terrifying than their own sections. A Su family that hides so deeply. Old Ancestor of the White Cloud Dynasty, accompanied by Princess by Yuege, presents a part of a saint-grade legacy, wishing the old ancestor a happy wedding. At this moment, a congratulatory voice sounded, causing many powers to look on in surprise, including several top powers. The White Cloud Dynasty. Isn't that another first-rate power in the northern wilderness? They actually came to attend the wedding. They must be here to seek reconciliation. Anyone can see that if the Su family wants to become a top power, they must occupy the northern wilderness and expand their influence. That's right, only by unifying the northern wilderness can the Su family meet the minimum requirements to become a top power. The White Cloud Dynasty wants to seek reconciliation, but it's probably impossible unless the Su family expands outward. But if they do that, they will inevitably clash with the territory of the Myriad Beast Sect. If the Su family isn't stupid, they will definitely choose an easier target. Although the Su family is strong, it's not realistic to provoke the Myriad Beast Sect. The powerhouses of each power whisper to each other, their gazes turning towards the guests from the White Cloud Dynasty. including the various top powers. As their gazes met, the terrifying fluctuation suppressed the void, causing it to tremble. Fortunately, this was a wedding banquet, and the powerhouses intentionally restrained their own fluctuations. Amidst the gaze of everyone, two figures appeared. One was the white cloud ancestor. At this moment, he no longer looked thin, emitting a terrifying fluctuation all over his body. His hair fluttered, revealing the terrifying fluctuation of a semi-saint grade. Seeing this aura, the leaders of each top power secretly nodded. This kind of strength was indeed worthy of being a first-rate power's ancestor, not much weaker than themselves. However, when their gazes shifted to a young girl beside the white cloud ancestor, many people's eyes lit up. She was an incredibly beautiful young girl, not very old, and still appeared tender, but her temperament was stunning, like a moonlight elf walking out of a painting. A small face, delicate and captivating, with waist-length hair as beautiful as moonlight. Features like a painting, flawless skin like white jade, and clear and captivating eyes. A magnificent white dress, shimmering and radiant, soft and tender bare feet, with moonlight swirling around every step, pure and white like jade, sparkling and captivating. Although young and slightly petite, her charm is already surpassing many renowned goddesses and beauties. In addition, she exudes a special aura, as pure and flawless as white jade, yet subtly revealing a hint of enchantment. Such astonishing charm makes even some long-standing old monsters unable to resist their hearts. Pounding, the geniuses of various factions have fiery gazes, and even some fairy-level figures who usually dominate the realm cannot help but show jealousy in their eyes. What an extraordinary beauty, I must have her. That the Sect master of towering void sword Sect's eyes brightened, and a burning desire surged in his heart. That petite body, bare and tender feet, a sacred purity with a hint of bewitching charm, all perfectly struck a chord in his heart, making him intensely passionate. Not only that, due to practicing a certain secret technique, he could vaguely sense by Yuege's mystery. The other party's physique is very special. If they were to join together, it would greatly benefit his cultivation, perhaps even helping him achieve sainthood. Coincidentally, White Cloud Dynasty is in trouble. I promise to intercede for Su family on their behalf. Su Changsheng will surely give me face. As an exchange, let this woman become the 82nd concubine of mine. That the Sect master of towering void sword Sect thought to himself. In his view, although Su family is powerful and has a deep foundation, they only have one newly promoted saint. Faced with an old established force like towering void sword Sect, they can only bow their heads. It's worth noting that towering void sword Sect has 3 saints presiding over it, making it the strongest top-tier force. Su Changsheng definitely wouldn't dare to refuse Flylo's 18th anniversary brand upgrade rewards for readers. Top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab it now. Activity period, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 19. The Aloof Master of the Sword Sect is pretty good looking. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Humph, Ling Jian, this old ghost, is indeed tempted again. Well, she's just an ordinary woman, although she's stunning, it's nothing special. Let this old guy have her. A dignified sword cultivator, yet his thoughts are so impure. No wonder he was born with a divine body for the sword Tao, but still hasn't become a saint. That within the Immortal Palace, on each high platform, divine light overflowed and purple chi rose. The semi-saint masters of the top powers were sitting separately. At this moment, they noticed the fiery gaze in the eyes of the master of the towering void sword Sect and coldly snorted in their hearts. Among them, some were also tempted. However, upon seeing the appearance of the master of the towering void sword Sect, they knew that he was also tempted. Knowing that they couldn't compete, they could only give up, but there was still some dissatisfaction in their hearts. But there were also those who disdained it. If it weren't for the master of the towering void sword Sect being obsessed with women and neglecting his cultivation, not being sincere enough in his own sword Tao, with his innate talent for the divine body of the sword Tao, he would have become a saint long ago. Elder Baiyun, please take a seat. A protector of the everlasting realm stepped forward and greeted Elder Baiyun and the others, who had a hint of shock in their expressions, and sent them into the Immortal Palace. In this Immortal Palace, only the masters of a certain power had the qualification to step onto the stage and take a seat. Although Elder Baiyun's position was one level lower than the masters of the top powers, It was still quite prominent. What a Su family, unexpectedly having so many terrifying existences at the peak of the everlasting realm, each one not much weaker than a semi-saint. Elder Baiyun sat on a high platform, secretly shocked in his heart. Just on the way here, he had already been deeply shocked by the foundation of the Su family, whether it was the 3,000 law manifestations or the 30 peak figures of the ancient times, they far surpassed the White Cloud dynasty by a large margin, not even in the same league. So beautiful, even more magnificent than the imperial palace, Princess by Yuege, sitting beside him, blinked her clear and beautiful eyes, looking at this vast immortal palace and the masters of various powers. She wasn't afraid, but rather full of curiosity, her flawless gaze was as pure as clear water. Yuege, the old ancestor of longevity, will appear soon. Take a good look at him. If you're willing, he might become your future husband. Seeing by Yuege's pure and flawless gaze, Elder Baiyun transmitted his voice. Yes, grandfather. Upon hearing this, Yuege crisply responded, her voice tender and clear, as pure and moving as a pearl falling onto a jade plate. Sigh, I hope it will be successful. Elder Baiyun secretly sighed in his heart. After witnessing the foundation of the Su family, he became even more aware of the mystery surrounding Su Changsheng. The other party is definitely not simple, and most likely has a big secret. If we can establish a connection with the other party, it will be of great benefit to the White Cloud dynasty and to Yuege. However, whether or not this can be achieved does not solely depend on our willingness, but also on whether Su Changsheng is interested in Yuege. Old Ancestor Baiyun, your descendants are impressive. If I take a liking to her, I will make her my concubine. As a reward, I will intercede with Su Changsheng on behalf of the White Cloud dynasty and let him spare you. I presume you have come for this matter. At this moment, an indifferent voice sounded in old Ancestor Baiyun's ear, full of a condescending tone, as if bestowing charity upon a beggar. The voice belonged to Ling Jian, the master of the towering Void Sword Sect. What? Upon hearing this, old Ancestor Baiyun was taken aback, and couldn't help but feel angry after recognizing the identity of the person speaking. The White Cloud dynasty may be weak, but it is still a first-class power. As for old Ancestor Baiyun, he is a semi-saint, not someone who fears death. How could he let Yuege become someone else's concubine? Moreover, the condescending attitude, as if looking down on a beggar. If it were just that, old Ancestor Baiyun could tolerate it to some extent, but old Ancestor Baiyun knows very well that Ling Jian has a twisted taste and treats his wives and concubines as playthings. Nowadays, Ling Jian is over 8,000 years old and has not yet become a saint. He is nothing more than an old pervert. If Yuege were to marry him, wouldn't it be like a lamb entering a tiger's den? Master, please be patient. Yuege is still young. I don't intend to give her away as a wife. Please wait a few more years. Although old Ancestor Baiyun felt aggrieved, he suppressed his anger and said politely, after all, the towering Void Sword Sect is not to be trifled with. Insolence. Ling Jian's gaze turned cold, and his voice transmission instantly became icy, carrying a chilling intent to kill. A mere first-class power dares to refuse this sect master. Believe it or not, without the Su family's intervention, this sect can wipe out your White Cloud dynasty tomorrow. If you know what's good for you, offer up this girl, and I can forgive your offense. Ling Jian's voice transmitted coldly. Baiyun Lao Zu's heart sank. If Ling Jian really brought people to destroy the White Cloud dynasty, even if they could form an alliance with the Su family, it might be too late, because today was the day of the grand wedding. If they wanted to propose an alliance, they would have to wait for some time at least, but if they refused, it was likely that the towering Void Sword Sect would destroy the White Cloud dynasty within a few days. As a top power, the towering Void Sword Sect had the ability to wipe out a first-rate power with a snap of their fingers. Yuege sat on the side, gripping her hands tightly, her clear eyes blinking as she observed her surroundings. Seemingly immersed in the beautiful scenery, she lightly swayed her bare feet and hummed a tune. Like an innocent little girl, pure and holy, she seemed like a celestial being that had descended to the mortal world. Seeing this scene, Baiyun Lao Zu's heart trembled. How could he bear to sacrifice his own descendant like this? Yuege was his most beloved junior. Thank you for your kind offer, but I have only one answer, no need. Bai Yun Lao Zu took a deep breath and responded calmly. Good, you're good. Ling Jian's response was only a few cold words, it's over. Bai Yun Lao Zu heard these words and bitterly smiled, knowing that the White Cloud dynasty was done for this time. But as long as you're safe, it's fine. Soon, his gaze became firm again, and his eyes towards Bai Yuege were filled with tenderness. As long as you're here, there is hope for the White Cloud dynasty. That he touched Bai Yuege's beautiful hair and whispered, as long as Bai Yuege could rise under the protection of Su Changsheng and become a saint, the White Cloud dynasty would not be destroyed and could revive once again. At that time, all sacrifices would be worth it. Lao Zu. Bai Yuege tilted her head, her pure and flawless eyes looking at Bai Yun Lao Zu with a hint of confusion. It's all right, just wait a little longer, the eternal Lao Zu will appear soon. Bai Yun Lao Zu smiled and shook his head, a joyful expression on his aged face. It had been a long time since he had felt so relaxed. Oh, Bai Yuege obediently nodded, her eyes gazing towards the depths of the palace, her gaze flickering, lost in thought. Dang, as time passed, after numerous leaders of various forces came to offer their congratulations, accompanied by the sound of drums and gongs, the wedding officially began. After going through one ritual after another, the groom and bride made their official appearance. Su Changsheng, dressed in groom's attire, with black hair like ink and a face as beautiful as jade, had an extraordinary figure, unbelievably handsome, as if he had descended from the immortal realm. So that's the eternal Lao Zu. He looks so young. On the high platform, Bai Yuege blinked her eyes, looking at the flawlessly handsome Su Changsheng, feeling surprised in her heart. Although she had mentally prepared herself, she was still taken aback when she actually saw Su Changsheng. That's natural. The eternal Lao Zu has broken through to the saint realm. At his age of 6,000 years, compared to the 50,000 years lifespan of a saint, he is still in his youth. Bai Yun Lao Zu explained, then he looked at Bai Yuege with a smiling expression and asked. How about it, little princess, are you satisfied? Well, he looks quite handsome. Upon hearing this, Bai Yuege's face turned slightly red. She cautiously glanced at Su Changsheng's handsome face and softly murmured, very handsome. She added in her heart, Flylu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade rewards for readers. Top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab it now, promotion period, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 20 Purple Mountain Saint, turning a big wedding into a big funeral. You are listening at novelfull.audio. That's the eternal ancestor, right? So young, full of vitality, even more handsome and charming than any prodigy. That's a saint, with a lifespan of 50,000 years, able to overlook the vast earth and control the fate of all beings with a snap of their fingers. It's my first time seeing a saint appear, and in such a state of grand marriage. That woman from the Gu family is really lucky to be able to marry a saint ancestor, and such a young and handsome one at that. At the wedding banquet, in the Immortal Palace, and even on the palaces of various forces, there were powerful figures from all sides, as well as many prodigies, goddesses, and fairy-level characters. When they saw Su Changsheng appear, their eyes couldn't help but show a look of shock. Especially those fairies and goddesses, each revealing a stunning expression. They couldn't help but feel jealous in their hearts, to be the wife of a saint ancestor, and still so young and beautiful. Her status is comparable to the leaders of major top forces. Moreover, as the wife of a saint, the resources that Qingge can obtain are immense. It can be said that from the moment she married Su Changsheng, Qingge has already stood at the pinnacle of the younger generation of the true saint continent. For most of the younger generation, their future is mostly limited to the everlasting realm, with only a few being able to become the master of a sect. But to become a saint is extremely difficult. After all, even with a divine body, although there is the potential to become a saint, the cultivation path is filled with various difficulties and obstacles, and one's aptitude may not be able to reach the end. But Qingge, with a saint protecting her, her future is at least that of a semi-saint. This is also why the various fairy and goddess-level beauties envy and are jealous of her. Su Changsheng. It's him. I didn't expect him to become a saint, even though he doesn't have much background. To achieve sainthood in one step, from now on, he is no longer in the same world as us, after all, we can't compare to him. A lifespan of 50,000 years, truly envious, that the leaders of the top forces from all sides also turned their gazes towards him. Seeing Su Changsheng's young and handsome appearance, as well as the youthful vitality emanating from him, they also felt jealous in their hearts. They are all semi-saint powerhouses, contemporaries of Su Changsheng, or even characters from 2,000 years earlier, and their backgrounds are much stronger than Su Changsheng's, not only having abundant resources and techniques, but also receiving guidance in cultivation from the saint Ancestor, but even so, they are still far from reaching the realm of a saint, and they can't even see a glimmer of hope, now seeing Su Changsheng, who is inferior to them in all aspects, actually becoming a saint. The emotions in their hearts are naturally extremely complex and jealous. How wonderful, that the old ancestor Bai Yun sighed in his heart, looking at Su Changsheng's young face. In his turbid eyes, there was also a hint of envy. He was already over 9,000 years old, not far from his end, but the realm of a saint, he still couldn't see a glimmer of hope. It was impossible for him to succeed in this lifetime. Damn it, that at the same time, on the field, Qingge, dressed in a bride's gown, with the makeup of a bride, covered with a red veil, and stunningly beautiful, was now on the verge of tears. She really didn't want to get married. After being reborn with great difficulty, she still wanted to cultivate diligently, she still wanted to rise and surpass her past life. But before she even had a chance to exert her strength, she was directly suppressed and taken down by that bastard Su Changsheng. Damn Su Changsheng! Qingge gritted her teeth in anger. She really wanted to lift the red veil and throw it directly onto Su Changsheng's head, and shout that she would never marry him, but unfortunately, her cultivation had long been suppressed by Su Changsheng, and she couldn't break free at all. She could only be like a puppet on a string, completely at the mercy of Su Changsheng. Myriad beast sect, stretching mountains, towering peaks, countless beasts roaring, an indescribable aura of terror looming. In the ancestral land of the sect, the sect master of Myriad beast sect stood respectfully on the side, looking at the depths of the cave mansion with reverence in his eyes, filled with awe in his heart. Inside that cave mansion, divine light surged, mist rolled, and a terrifying aura permeated from it, like a raging river, ready to erupt with earth-shattering power at any moment. The sect master didn't know how much longer the old ancestor would come out. The sect master of Myriad beast sect silently thought, and at the thought of the old ancestor using the holy execution bow, a look of longing appeared in his eyes. The holy execution bow. That is the Myriad beast sect's ancestral holy weapon, incredibly powerful, and has killed more than one saint. Once it appears, it will definitely drink the blood of saints. Su Changsheng is just a small newly promoted saint. Under the power of the saint-slaying bow, he will undoubtedly perish. Just thinking that today the ancestor will slaughter saints, the Myriad beast sect master is filled with excitement. After today, the Myriad beast sect will shake the entire true saint continent, and even the surrounding continents, causing a sensation. Boom! Not just as the Myriad beast sect master's mind was excited, a terrifying aura surged out from the cave mansion, overwhelming and causing even the semi-saint Myriad beast sect's lord to tremble. The ancestor has come out of seclusion. That the Myriad beast sect master was not surprised but delighted. Step, step, step. Within the cave mansion, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed. With each step, it felt as if they were stepping on the patterns of the great Tao in the depths of darkness. A mysterious fluctuation permeated, gripping the heart of the Myriad beast sect master, his face gradually pale, with an urge to vomit blood. This made him horrified. The ancestor's cultivation is too terrifying. Just a slight sound of footsteps made this semi-saint almost unable to bear it. Soon, a tall and burly figure appeared, wearing a crude garment made of beast skins, a full beard on his face, and an extremely sturdy physique. Behind him, he carried a red bow. The bow body was blood red, and at the bowstring, the power of mysterious rules surged, containing an extremely terrifying force. His appearance was not young, he was an old man, but his aura was incredibly terrifying. His eyes were icy cold, and with a blink, they emitted colors that made even the semi-saints tremble. I have seen Senior Purple Mountain. That the Myriad beast sect master quickly saluted, his heart trembling. he had already recognized the origin of this saint ancestor. It was none other than the saint who achieved enlightenment more than 30,000 years ago, who, 10,000 years ago, wielded the saint-slaying bow and killed a saint-level savage beast. His name was Purple Mountain. It should be noted that saint ancestors generally do not leave seclusion, either they wander around seeking breakthrough opportunities. Even the esteemed sect master would find it extremely difficult to see them once. This is his second time meeting Saint Laozu. Aha! Zishan Saint responded calmly, his gaze not falling on the Myriad Beast Sect Lord, but looking into the distance, that is the territory of the Su family. Where is Su Changsheng? Zishan Saint asked softly. Old Ancestor, today is the day of the Su family's grand wedding. This old ancestor must be enjoying the joy of the newlyweds. The Myriad Beast Sect Lord bowed respectfully and said with a respectful expression. A grand wedding? Offending my Myriad Beast Sect and yet still in the mood to hold a wedding feast? Zishan Laozu raised an eyebrow, his gaze turning cold. Then, he continued. Then let the grand wedding become a great funeral. Zishan Saint raised his hand, took down the large bow behind him, rubbed the huge bow body, feeling the bloody sensation on the bow, and sneered. My eldest brother is at a critical moment in his cultivation. Originally, he needed the blood of an ancient holy beast to break through. Although Su Changsheng is not a beast, the essence of a newly promoted saint should be enough. That this is also the real reason why he came out of seclusion and brought the holy execution bow. His eldest brother, the other Saint Laozu of the Myriad Beast Sect, is at a critical moment of breaking through to the fourth heaven of the saint. Once the breakthrough is successful and promoted to the fourth heaven, it will be a whole new world. His strength will be 2 to 3 times that of the third heaven. By then, the power of the Myriad Beast Sect will further increase, and it may even approach the level of the towering Void Sword Sect. Old Ancestor is mighty. Upon hearing this, the Myriad Beast Sect Lord was shocked in his heart. He didn't expect that the old ancestor came out of seclusion for this. Flylu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade rewards readers. Top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab it now. Activity time, August 10th to August 20th.